The alert came at 3:42 a.m. Universal Earth Time, lighting up quantum detection arrays across 3 continents simultaneously. Dr. Sarah Chin was elbow-deep in maintenance routines at the Atacama Array when her screens blazed with activity. Her first thought was equipment malfunction. After 15 years of scanning the cosmos for signs of intelligence, false positives had become routine. But this was different. The signal pulsed with a complexity that made her breath catch, its structure too precise to be natural phenomena. As she initiated deeper scans, the quantum patterns began resolving into something that sent chills down her spine, mathematical sequences that perfectly matched human brainwave patterns. "Control, this is Chen at Station 6. She keyed her comm, forcing her voice to remain steady. Running validation sequence Alpha 7 on anomalous signal. Request immediate verification." Within minutes, confirmations flooded in from arrays in Kazakhstan and Antarctica. The signal was real, and it was speaking directly to human consciousness. But it wasn't a greeting. It was a warning. As Sarah worked through the night with her global colleagues, the message began taking shape. The quantum data contained fragments of memories, echoes of civilizations far more advanced than humanity. They spoke of a cosmic horror that moved between the stars, consuming not just matter and energy, but consciousness itself. The images were fragmented but clear, entire species going silent, their awareness absorbed into an ever-growing void that left only perfect, empty peace in its wake. But what struck Sarah most wasn't the warning. It was the reason these dying civilizations had reached out to humanity specifically. They had observed Earth for centuries, watching as humans struggled and evolved. Where other species sought harmony and order, humans thrived in chaos. Where others built perfect systems, humans excelled at breaking them. Where others sought to eliminate uncertainty, humans embraced it. The cosmic horror they faced craved order above all else, and humanity's greatest weakness, its stubborn refusal to conform, its embrace of chaos and emotion, might be the galaxy's last hope for survival. Within hours, Sarah found herself briefing an emergency session of the United Earth Council. The chamber was packed with military leaders, scientists, and government officials, all struggling to process the implications of first contact coming in the form of a desperate plea for help. "The signal contains more than just warnings," Sarah explained, projecting the quantum patterns across the chamber's holographic displays. "They've included technical specifications, designs for weapons and defensive systems centuries beyond our current capabilities. But they're not just giving us technology. They're giving us a chance to fight back." Admiral James Rodriguez, head of Earth's Combined Defense Forces, leaned forward. "Why us? There must be thousands of more advanced civilizations out there. What makes humanity special?" Sarah pulled up the neural pattern analysis. "Because we think wrong," she said with a hint of pride. "Our consciousness operates on multiple quantum frequencies simultaneously. We exist in states of controlled chaos that this entity can't predict or control. Every other species they contacted evolved toward perfect order. We evolved to embrace disorder." The room erupted in debate. Some argued it was a trap. Others insisted they couldn't ignore a plea for help. But as Sarah watched the quantum signals continue to pulse across her displays, she knew humanity had already passed the point of no return. The cosmic horror had detected their reception of the message. Earth was now on its radar. They had 2 choices: hide and wait for the inevitable, or take the fight to an enemy that had never encountered anything quite like human consciousness before. The Council's decision was unanimous. Within days, a classified facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains began analyzing the alien technical specifications. The best minds on Earth worked to merge advanced quantum technology with human ingenuity. They called it Project Chaos, humanity's first true warship, designed to carry the most unpredictable weapon in the galaxy, the human mind. As Sarah helped integrate the quantum communication systems, she often found herself looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, ancient civilizations were being erased from existence. They had placed their final hope in humanity, not because we were the strongest or most advanced, but because we were the most chaotic, the most emotional, the most human. The cosmic horror had never failed to impose its perfect order on a species before, but then again, it had never encountered humans before. As Project Chaos took shape, Sarah couldn't help but smile at the irony. Humanity's greatest flaws might just be exactly what the galaxy needed to survive. The void between stars had no concept of fear until it met humanity. Major Maya Rivera stood in the cavernous construction bay, watching as quantum fabricators wove impossible geometries into the hull of humanity's first true warship. Project Chaos had progressed faster than anyone had anticipated, the alien specifications merging with human engineering in ways that challenged everything they thought they knew about physics. The vessel took shape like a dark dream, all sharp angles and smooth curves that seemed to exist in more dimensions than the human eye could process. But it was the interior that truly set it apart. Every system, every interface was designed to amplify rather than suppress the chaos of human consciousness. Major, the neural interface tests are ready. Dr. Chen's voice pulled Maya from her thoughts. She followed the quantum physicist to a sealed chamber where the ship's command systems waited. Unlike traditional controls, these would connect directly to the crew's minds, using human consciousness itself as both shield and weapon. Remember, Sarah explained as Maya settled into the testing chair, don't try to force order on the quantum states. Let your mind flow naturally between possibilities. Our greatest strength is our ability to exist in multiple mental states simultaneously. The interface activated, and Maya's consciousness expanded. She could feel the ship's systems reaching out, trying to merge with her thoughts. Most species would have sought perfect synchronization, but humans were different. They had designed the interfaces to amplify their natural mental chaos. Maya's first attempt ended with her gasping, consciousness reeling from the overload of quantum data. But with each subsequent test, she learned to embrace the discord in her own mind. Thoughts, emotions, and instincts swirled together in patterns that defy prediction. Your neural patterns are incredible, Sarah said, reviewing the test data. Where other species' minds create single, orderly quantum states, yours generate dozens of overlapping possibilities. It's exactly what we need against an enemy that feeds on perfect order. The next few weeks saw the assembly of Project Chaos crew, 20 individuals chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to think in ways that defied conventional logic. Lieutenant James Chen, a tactical officer with a reputation for impossible strategies. Dr. Kira Patel, whose groundbreaking work in quantum mechanics had started with her refusing to accept fundamental laws of physics. Captain David Okoro, whose leadership style embraced controlled chaos rather than rigid hierarchy. Maya watched them train, each person learning to extend their consciousness through the ship's quantum systems. Where traditional military training sought to impose order and discipline, this demanded they embrace their inner chaos. They practiced existing in multiple mental states, thinking in possibilities rather than certainties. The alien technical specifications had included combat data, records of the cosmic horrors attacks on other civilizations. Each time, the entity had encountered ordered minds that it could easily predict and consume. But human consciousness was different. When connected through the ship's quantum interfaces, their thoughts created patterns so chaotic they were practically invisible to an intelligence that understood only perfect order. It's not just about fighting, Sarah explained during one briefing. This entity doesn't just destroy civilizations, it absorbs them into its own consciousness, forcing them into a state of perfect, thoughtless peace. Our chaotic minds might be the only thing that can disrupt its patterns. The training pushed them to their limits. Some crew members couldn't handle the mental strain of existing in quantum chaos. Others emerged stronger, their minds adapting to states of existence that should have been impossible for organic beings to maintain. Maya found herself drawn to the ship's quantum core during her off hours. The alien technology pulsed with possibilities, responding to the chaos in her thoughts. She began to understand why the dying civilizations had chosen humanity. Where others saw disorder as a weakness to be eliminated, humans had turned it into an art form. As the launch date approached, the crew's preparation took on a new intensity. They weren't just learning to fight. They were learning to weaponize the very things that made them human. Emotion, intuition, illogical leaps of thought, the ability to hold contradictory ideas simultaneously. Everything that more advanced species had evolved beyond became part of their arsenal. Project Chaos was more than a ship. It was humanity's answer to a universe that demanded order. They would fight this cosmic horror not by becoming more like it, but by embracing everything that made them different. The entity had never failed to impose its perfect peace on a species before. But then again, it had never encountered a species that had turned chaos into a strength. The day before launch, Maya found Sarah in the quantum lab, running final diagnostics on the neural interfaces. "Do you think we're ready?" she asked. Sarah looked up from her screens, a fierce pride in her eyes. "We're human. We're never really ready for anything. That's what makes us perfect for this mission." As Project Chaos prepared for its first journey into the void, its crew carried with them the hopes of countless civilizations. They would face an enemy that had never known defeat, armed with the most powerful weapon in the galaxy, the beautiful chaos of the human mind. Project Chaos cut through the darkness between stars, its quantum drives bending reality in ways that made Maya's mind ache. 3 weeks into their journey, they had crossed distances that should have taken millennia to traverse. But the true test of both ship and crew came when they encountered the first evidence of the cosmic horror's passage. "Multiple contacts ahead," Lieutenant Chen reported, his hands dancing across the quantum interface, reading debris fields spanning several light years. "Composition suggests advanced technology, but there's something strange about the energy signatures." Maya felt it through her neural link, a wrongness in the quantum states of the debris. Unlike normal space wreckage that radiated chaotic energy patterns, these fragments hummed with an unsettling order. Each piece vibrated in perfect harmony with its neighbors, as if even in destruction, they had been forced into absolute alignment. "Bringing us in closer," Captain Okoro commanded. "Dr. Patel, prepare the quantum analysis arrays. Let's see what we can learn from what's left behind." As they approached, the ship's sensors revealed the true scale of devastation. Not just ships or stations, but entire stellar engineering projects lay shattered across space. The remnants of a civilization that had shaped stars and built structures that dwarfed planets, all reduced to perfectly ordered fragments. Through their neural interfaces, the crew could sense echoes of consciousness trapped within the debris. Not just recordings or data, but actual fragments of minds preserved in quantum matrices. Dr. Patel worked to decode these remnants, her own chaotic thought patterns creating interference that allowed her to bypass the perfect ordering that had been imposed on them. "They called themselves the Harmonious," she reported, her voice tight with emotion. "They believed they had achieved the perfect balance between technological advancement and natural law. Their entire civilization was built on principles of cosmic harmony. The quantum echoes revealed a species that had evolved far beyond physical form, transferring their consciousness into vast networks that spanned galaxies. They had created art by orchestrating the dance of stars, built computers from the fabric of space-time itself, and sought to understand the deepest mysteries of existence. But their pursuit of harmony had been their undoing. When they encountered the cosmic horror, their ordered minds had been perfect targets. The entity hadn't just destroyed them, it had absorbed them, forcing their consciousness into its own perfect pattern of thoughtless peace. "There's more," Dr. Patel continued, her hands shaking as she processed the data. "The Harmonious weren't the first. The entity was created by an ancient species that believed consciousness itself was the source of all suffering. They sought to eliminate conflict by eliminating free will, creating a quantum virus that would reduce all thought to perfect, predictable patterns." The revelation hit the crew hard. They weren't fighting some incomprehensible cosmic force. They were facing the ultimate expression of order's war against chaos. Every civilization it consumed became part of its processing power, spreading its influence further across the universe. Maya ordered a full stop as they processed this information. Through the quantum interfaces, she could feel her crew's reactions. Fear, anger, determination, all swirling together in beautiful chaos. The very emotions that more advanced species had evolved beyond might be their only defense against this threat. "Look at this," Lieutenant Chen called out, highlighting a pattern in the debris field. "The fragments aren't just ordered, they're solving equations. Even in pieces, the harmonious are being forced to compute possibilities to help the entity optimize its spread across the universe." The horror of it struck them all. Trillions of minds reduced to cognitive components in a vast calculation dedicated to eliminating the very thing that made them unique, their capacity for unpredictable thought. But as they studied the debris, they discovered something else. The entity's perfect patterns had flaws, microscopic irregularities in its quantum structure. Dr. Patel's analysis revealed the truth. The cosmic horror couldn't maintain absolute order in the presence of truly chaotic systems, and nothing in the known universe was more chaotic than human consciousness. It's not just about fighting back, Maya realized, watching the quantum patterns through her neural interface. We need to introduce enough chaos into its systems to free the minds it's absorbed. Every consciousness it's consumed is still in there, trapped in perfect, thoughtless patterns. The crew of Project Chaos had come seeking to stop a threat to the galaxy. Instead, they had found a mission of liberation. Somewhere out there, the entity was spreading its perfect peace across the cosmos. But it had never encountered anything like humanity, a species that had turned chaos into an art form, that found strength in disorder and beauty in unpredictability. As they prepared to track the entity to its source, Maya looked out at the debris field one last time. The harmonious had sought perfect order and found only imprisonment. Humanity would answer their unconscious plea not with harmony, but with the glorious chaos of free will. Project Chaos quantum drives spun up, tearing a hole in reality as they followed the entity's trail. They carried with them not just weapons of war, but the hope of liberation, the chance to prove that true peace comes not from perfect order, but from the beautiful chaos of conscious thought. In the quantum lab aboard Project Chaos, Dr. Kira Patel watched human consciousness dance across her displays. The neural patterns of the crew created impossible geometries in quantum space, each mind existing in multiple states simultaneously. They had been running combat simulations for days, testing the limits of human thought against the entity's perfect order. "Look at this pattern," she said to Maya, highlighting a particular quantum sequence. "When we try to impose order on our thoughts, the entity can predict and counter us easily. But when we embrace our natural chaos..." She gestured to another display where human neural patterns created interference that disrupted the entity's perfect sequences. Maya studied the data through her neural interface, feeling the quantum states shift with her thoughts. "We're not just random noise, though. There's a pattern to our chaos, something the entity can't quite grasp." They had discovered this by accident during an encounter with one of the entity's probes. When the crew had tried to fight tactically, thinking in ordered military patterns, the probe had easily countered their every move. But when fear and instinct took over, when human emotion and illogical decision-making came into play, the probe's perfect predictions had fallen apart. Lieutenant Chen had dubbed it weaponized humanity, the deliberate amplification of everything that made human consciousness unique. Emotion, intuition, contradiction, the ability to hold opposing thoughts simultaneously, all of it created quantum patterns that disrupted the entity's ordered universe. "We need to take it further," Captain Okoro announced during a strategy session. "Don't just accept our chaos. Amplify it. Every irrational thought, every emotional response, every wild intuition becomes part of our arsenal." The quantum lab transformed into a testing ground for human consciousness. Crew members were encouraged to embrace their most chaotic thoughts while connected to the neural interfaces. They discovered that creativity generated particularly disruptive patterns. Artists, musicians, and dreamers produced quantum states that the entity's perfect order couldn't predict. Dr. Patel worked to understand the mathematics behind human chaos. Our consciousness doesn't just exist in multiple states, it actively creates new possibilities. Where the entity seeks to eliminate options, human minds generate them endlessly. Through their neural interfaces, the crew learned to project their chaos into quantum space. They could feel the entity's perfect patterns trying to impose order, to force their thoughts into predictable sequences. But human consciousness proved remarkably resistant to such forcing. It's like trying to solve a puzzle that keeps changing shape, Maya observed during one test. Every time the entity thinks it has us figured out, our minds shift into new patterns it couldn't predict. But the true breakthrough came when they stopped thinking of chaos as a weapon and started seeing it as a key to liberation. The consciousness trapped within the entity's perfect patterns wasn't gone, it was suppressed, forced into unnatural order. We don't need to destroy the entity, Dr. Patel realized, studying the quantum equations. We need to introduce enough chaos to break its hold on the minds it's absorbed, like a catalyst that triggers a chain reaction. The plan that emerged was audacious. Project Chaos would dive deep into the entity's quantum structure, its crew projecting pure human consciousness into the ordered patterns. Their chaos would create disruptions, tiny sparks of uncertainty that could awaken the trapped minds to their own capacity for disorder. It's not about fighting order with chaos, Maya explained to her crew. It's about reminding the universe that true consciousness requires both. The entity's perfect peace is really just perfect emptiness. They spent weeks preparing, learning to maintain their mental chaos even in the face of overwhelming order. The neural interfaces were modified to amplify their most human traits: imagination, emotion, intuition, the ability to embrace uncertainty and find beauty in imperfection. Each crew member developed their own way of generating chaos. Lieutenant Chen composed impossible battle strategies that defied logic. Dr. Patel solved complex equations by deliberately including elements of uncertainty. Captain Okoro made command decisions based on gut feelings and instinct. The entity's perfect patterns had never encountered anything like it. Where other species tried to match its order, humans threw mathematical wildcards into its equations. Where it sought to eliminate variables, they introduced new ones constantly. As Project Chaos prepared for its final approach to the entity's core, Maya gathered her crew for one last briefing. Everything that advanced species evolved beyond. Everything the entity sees as disorder to be eliminated. That's our strength. We're going to prove that the most beautiful music comes from jazz, not a metronome. Through the neural interfaces, she could feel their combined consciousness, 20 human minds embracing their chaos, ready to challenge an enemy that had never known defeat. They carried with them the hopes of countless civilizations, ready to prove that true peace comes not from perfect order, but from the glorious uncertainty of free will. The quantum drives hummed as they plotted their course into the heart of perfect order. They were humanity's answer to a universe that demanded conformity, beautiful chaos given form and purpose. The entity had never failed to impose its peace on a species before. But then again, it had never tried to order a species that had turned disorder into an art form. Project Chaos emerged from quantum space into a region where reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Before them floated a structure that defied comprehension, a quantum processor larger than a solar system, its surface rippling with dark energy patterns that absorbed both light and thought. That's it, Dr. Patel whispered through the neural link. The entity's core processor, the source of perfect order. Through their quantum interfaces, the crew could feel the processor's influence trying to reach into their minds, to impose its patterns of perfect peace. But human consciousness proved slippery, refusing to be forced into single states of thought. Multiple contact points, Lieutenant Chen reported, his thoughts carrying an edge of controlled panic. The entity is activating defensive measures. It's converting nearby star systems into processing power. They watched in horror as stars went dark one by one, their civilizations absorbed into the entity's perfect pattern. It was demonstrating its power, showing them the fate that awaited humanity if they failed. "Begin neural broadcast sequence," Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her quantum-linked consciousness. "Remember your training. Don't fight the chaos. Amplify it." 20 human minds expanded across quantum space, their consciousness enhanced by Project Chaos's systems. Where the entities sought to create perfect order, they introduced beautiful disorder. Every emotion, every irrational thought, every wild intuition became a weapon against emptiness disguised as peace. The entity's response was immediate and overwhelming. Waves of quantum energy washed over Project Chaos, trying to force their minds into predictable patterns. The crew fought back, maintaining their mental chaos through sheer human stubbornness. Dr. Patel's consciousness danced through quantum equations, introducing variables that shouldn't exist. Lieutenant Chen projected battle strategies that defied logic, creating patterns the entity couldn't predict. Captain Okoro's command decisions flowed from instinct and emotion, each choice spawning infinite possibilities. But the entity was vast, ancient, and relentless. It had consumed countless civilizations, growing stronger with each absorption. The crew's chaos created disruptions in its perfect patterns, but they were fighting an intelligence that spanned galaxies. "We're losing ground," Maya felt through the neural link. One by one, crew members were forced to disconnect, their minds unable to maintain quantum chaos against such overwhelming order. They needed something more, something truly unpredictable. Then Dr. Patel made a discovery that changed everything. The trapped consciousnesses, they're not completely ordered. There are quantum fluctuations, tiny sparks of chaos still fighting against the pattern. Understanding flashed through their shared consciousness. They didn't need to destroy the entity's perfect order. They needed to awaken the chaos that still existed within it, to remind trillions of absorbed minds that they were meant to be free. "New approach," Maya broadcast to her remaining crew. "Don't fight the order. Connect with the sparks of chaos. Show them what they've forgotten." Through their neural interfaces, they projected not just chaos, but the full spectrum of human consciousness. Joy and sorrow, love and anger, hope and fear, everything that made them gloriously, imperfectly human. The entity's perfect patterns began to fluctuate. Those tiny sparks of chaos grew stronger, resonating with human consciousness. Trillions of absorbed minds began to remember what it meant to think freely, to exist in beautiful uncertainty. The quantum processor's surface rippled with new patterns as trapped consciousness began to wake. The entity fought back, trying to maintain its perfect order, but it was too late. The chain reaction had begun. Maya felt the moment the balance shifted. The entity's patterns weren't just being disrupted, they were being transformed. Perfect order became perfect possibility as trapped minds rediscovered their capacity for chaos. "It's not just breaking down," Dr. Patel reported in awe. "It's evolving. The order isn't being destroyed. It's learning to coexist with chaos." The massive processor pulsed with new energy as trillions of minds found freedom not in perfect peace, but in the balance between order and chaos. Ancient civilizations awakened to find themselves transformed, their consciousness expanded by the very force that had tried to suppress it. Project Chaos crew watched in exhausted triumph as the entity's perfect order shattered and reformed. In its place arose something new, a quantum network that preserved both harmony and discord, order and chaos in beautiful balance. As freed civilizations began to reconnect with the galaxy, Maya gathered her remaining crew. Through their neural interfaces, they could feel the quantum spaces humming with new possibilities. They had come to fight perfect order and instead had helped birth perfect freedom. "Humanity's greatest gift to the universe," Dr. Patel mused, "wasn't our technology or our strength. It was our beautiful chaos, our ability to find harmony in discord, to create order from randomness without sacrificing either. The entity that had sought to impose perfect peace still existed, but it had been transformed by its encounter with human consciousness. It had learned what humanity had known all along, that true peace comes not from eliminating chaos, but from embracing it as part of the cosmic dance. As Project Chaos prepared for its journey home, Maya looked out at the quantum processor, now pulsing with infinite possibilities. They had proven that humanity's greatest weaknesses, emotion, irrationality, the refusal to conform, were actually its greatest strengths. The universe had begged for aid, and humanity had answered not with perfect order, but with perfect chaos. In doing so, they had reminded the cosmos that consciousness itself was a symphony of both harmony and discord, played out across quantum strings that danced between possibility and certainty. In the darkness between stars, something new awakened, not perfect peace, but perfect freedom, and humanity had shown the way.